I know you've got an ear out for the start of the podcast, but before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to remind you to keep an eye out for Darryl Lee's limited edition Christmas treats, because they're in stores now. Like the iconic Christmas nougat pudding, so yummy and a gorgeous little gift. And some delicious Chrissy-themed twists on your favourite treats, like the Darryl Lee Rockley Road with chewy red and green jelly pieces, green and red crunchy milk chocolate balls, my favourites, and green apple and strawberry flavoured licorice. Watch them disappear. Your Christmas treats table will pop with colour and scrumptiousness. Spread some joy, bring the fun, and enjoy the Christmas tradition that is Darryl Lee. Hurry before they sell out. Darryl Lee makes Christmas better.
You're listening to a DM podcast.
Nigel here. I've been thinking about my next guest, and it's been quite a evocative time for me, because when I was a young man, my favourite thing to do was to go to stand-up comedy. And my all-time favourite place to see it was at the Comedy Store in London's Leicester Square. Back then I was still drinking, so my perfect day was to have a skinful with mates before rocking up at the Comedy Store for their midnight show. This was in the late 80s, when alternative stand-up was being called comedy's version of punk rock. The set lists were almost unbelievably good. Alexei Sale, Rick Mayall, Ben Elton, Jack Dee, Eddie Izzard, Jimmy Carr, just about every major British stand-up comedian in the last 30 years started their career in alternative comedy clubs. And the Comedy Store was basically the headquarters of that scene, so I saw them all. All of which goes some way to explaining why I was so thrilled to travel to London to record our next episode in the Comedy Store itself. My guest is the fabulous Neil Malarkey. Now, there are a number of things I could say about Neil. His picture is in the National Portrait Gallery, arm in arm with Stephen Fry. He appears in the Austin Powers movies alongside his great friend Mike Myers. Or I could mention that he's in the Guinness Book of Records as a founding member of the world's longest-running comedy show. But the thing I find most interesting about Neil is none of these things. What I find fascinating is the fact that Neil's specialisation is improvisation.
And he said, I'm trying to lose the idea of the word improvisation. I say, I agree. I use the word improv because I'm not flying by the seat of my pants. I know the process works. I know I'm with people who will listen to me and work with what I give. And that's improv. So there are structures, protocols, there's a whole mindset. And I'm talking a lot these days about the improv mindset. So it's not just, hey, whatever happens, happens. It's kind of, we're heading towards story, as you mentioned. I'm listening to what she's saying. She's listening to what I'm saying. We talk a lot about the idea of an offer. An offer is something somebody gives you, you can do something with. A brilliant definition by a group called On Your Feet, a mixture of improv and business people who take improv to business and actually beyond as well. And so this is the whole ethos, is how do you and I create something together? The creativity, the collaboration, which only comes with us working together and listening and being open to diversity. I don't know what you're going to say, but I love knowing that I can use it. I know we're going to go on a story, heading on a journey together. We know nothing other than we will be there together.
Like Neil, I believe the principles of improv are a powerful way of making sense of the world, encouraging you to embrace the uncertainty and ambiguity and make something positive of it. The principles of improv don't just make for a great onstage performance, they can be transformative in our relationships and work. Principles like intentive listening, always trying to make the other person look good, saying yes and, not yes but, seeing the lighter side of things. I try to apply these and other improv principles in my own life and on this show, so it was a real privilege for me to sit down with one of the world's leading exponents of the craft. Be sure to tune in next week to hear how he responded to the 5 My Life challenge. And please, if you enjoy the show, subscribe and tell a friend about the growing 5 My Life community.